Good morning or evening or afternoon, whatever you're watching this. Hi. So today we're going to do percents to decimals or percents to fractions or just vice versa, fractions to percents or decimals to percents. Either way, joke for the day is this: why do elephants hide behind trees? Guess you'll find out. So you're going to write the percent as a decimal. Guys, something you need to know is that a percent is always out of 100. So when I write 65%, 65% really, if we were to write it as a fraction, would be 65 out of 100. A percent is always out of 100. Say that. A percent is always out of 100. Now, if you're going to make that into a decimal, what you guys could do, 65 over 100 really is 65 divided by 100 if you turn it to the right and divide. 100 doesn't go in the 65, so add a decimal and a 0 and take the decimal straight up. So then 100 goes into 650 6 times. 6 times 100 is 600. Subtract, you get 50. Add a 0, bring it down, and 100 goes into 500 5 times. So you end up getting 0.65 as your answer. So that is one way to write the percent as a decimal. And over here we have 21.23%. So that is going to be 21 and 23 hundredths over 100 because a percent is always over 100. So guys, in this case, if you guys went ahead and divided this, I'm going to write it over here. 21.23 divided by 100. Decimal goes straight up. 100 goes into 212. 2 times 100 is 200. Subtract, you get 12. Bring down the 3. Goes into it 1 time. 1 times 100 is 100. Subtract, you get 23. Add a 0. Bring it down. 100 goes into 230. 2 times 100 is 200. Subtract, you get 30. Add a 0. Bring it down. And 100 goes into 300 3 times. So your answer is 0.2123, or 2,123 10,000ths. Now, some of you guys may already be sitting there and say, well, Mr. Schwartz, couldn't we do something as easy as just saying, hey, the decimal's right here, and move it to the left 2 times? Yeah, you can, because that's in essence what dividing by 100 does. If you have 65 divided by 100, you're really just, there's 2 zeros there, you're just moving the decimal 2 times to the left. So again, if you have a percent to a decimal, you're moving it 2 times to the left. I just wanted you guys to see why, and not just be told, oh, just move it to the left or just move it to the right. The reason why is because dividing by 100, because 65 over 100, that is 65%. Dividing by 100 is just moving it to the left 2 times. All right, so let's go on. Actually, let me throw one more at you. So, for example, if I gave you 71.1%, all you guys would do to write it as a decimal, move it to the left 2 times, and you get 0.711. That is your decimal. All right, next thing. You guys have to write the decimal as a percent. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if before, when we were doing a percent to a decimal, we moved it to the left twice, we probably can move it to the right twice, and we will end up getting our percent. Now, let me show you what's really going on here. This is 61 hundredths. That's 61 over 100. Didn't I say before that a percent is out of 100? So really our percent is right there. It's 61%. Now, again, what you could do there is just go ahead and say, well, Mr. Schwartz, well, we're just going to the right twice, because before we went to the left, so now we're going to the right twice to make it a percent. You're right. Yes, you are. But I want you to understand why. So you're right. If you move to the right twice, you get 61%. So on this one, you guys could go ahead and write this as a fraction, or you can just move it to the right twice, and you get 3.8%. And that would be your answer. So that is the decimal as a percent. Let's go to the next one. On this one, it says write the percent as a fraction. Well, guys, to write this percent as a fraction, 48% is simply 48 out of 100. Whew, we got a fraction, but you guys can reduce that by 2. You can go down to 24 over 50. And that can be reduced by 2 to 12 over 25. And that's it. This is the fraction in simplest form. On 15.5%, guys, you have 15.5% over 100, or 15.5 over 100. The problem is when we truly write a fraction in simplest form, we don't have a decimal in the top or bottom. So if it's in simplest form and it's a fraction, we actually have to go ahead and get rid of this decimal. To get rid of a 0.5, you guys could do a number of things. A simple thing to do would be to get rid of that decimal. If you were to move it to the right once, you're really just multiplying the top and bottom by 10. So you actually then would get 155 over 1,000. If you multiply the top and the bottom by 10, if you did times 10 times 10. So now you have the fraction gone, but then you also have to go ahead and simplify it. To simplify that, they both divide by 5. So if you do 155 divided by 5, you end up getting 31. And 100 divided by 5 is going to be 200. So you end up getting 31 over 200. And that's what it is in simplest form. So guys, that's in essence what we're doing today. If you had a fraction to start and they wanted it as a percent, you would change that to a decimal and then just move the decimal to the right twice and you got your percent. All right, so that should be pretty much it for today. Please remember that a percent is always out of 100. A percent is always out of 100. A percent is always out of 100. All right, joke for the day now. The joke for the day is this. Why do elephants hide behind trees? It's to trip ants. Come on, simple answer. To trip ants. All right, have a great one. Bye.